Okay. Very good morning, guys. Actually, yesterday we just got disconnected. After connecting, we did not unmute it, seems. So people did not hear the last things. Okay, let the last two operators, let me repeat once. What are the two operators? Question mark and colon operator and double question mark. Okay, the question mark and the colon operator and the double question mark. Let these two operators, let me repeat once. Am I audible now? Okay. So, what's the program? Operators demo, right? Spelling mistake. Yeah. So, the first one is size of. You can find the size of the type. Second one is type of. If you pass the C# type, it will return you IL name. Next one is is operator. Is operator is basically what I said. It is for type comparison. Type comparison. You're comparing it now. OBJ is of type double or not. Next, as operator. As operator is for conversion. And at this point, I said you for conversion only, Microsoft provides you various options to you. For conversion, Microsoft provides you various options to you. Like you can just do convert.to string or otherwise typecasting, the very old scenario. Next, you can call the toString method. You can call the toString method, and also we can just go for using the as keyword. As keyword. All these things we can just use for conversion as operator. Yeah. What next? The next one is a question mark and a colon operator. What is that? Actually, this code, traditionally, how do you write? If I is equals to 100, I want to print the output as hello world. So console dot write line hello world else console dot write line hello India. So we're just writing this if condition. If the value of I is 100, it will print you hello world. Otherwise, it will print you hello India. But see, one line of code to print here, but you are writing 4 statements here, 4 lines. So to simplify that, we can just use the second way of writing. How to write? What is this guy's condition now? Yes or not? So you can see this is the condition. This is the condition. Question mark. Yeah. If the condition is true, what should execute? What should execute? Hello world. If the condition is false, what should execute? What should execute? Hello India. So without writing this much code, you can complete the task in a single statement like this. The syntax is A, question mark B, colon C. A question mark B, colon C. That is the syntax. What is A? A is condition. What is the condition there? I double equals to 100 is the condition there. Next, question mark B. What is B? True expression. Means if the condition is true, what should happen? Okay. And what is C? False expression. What is that? If the condition is false, what should happen? If condition is true, it will print you hello world. If condition is false, it will print you hello India. You can just again observe the output. Now the condition is true, so printed you hello world. True or false now? Condition is false. Because the condition is false, the output will be hello India. Is that clear? And finally, we just learned about one more operator, that is a Collies operator. What is Collies operator? The Collies operator will take you a list of expressions. A list of expressions and returns the first not null value in the list. What it returns? The first not null value. Observe it. I'm using null here. I'm using null here. But when you come to country 3 is not null. Country 3 has a value now. Now see, in these 3, what is the first not null value? It checks for the first one, it's a null. Checks with the second one, it's a null. Then checks with the third one, it's not null. Returns country 3. What is the output? Australia. The output is going to be Australia. Save it and compile. Australia. Okay, now? And next thing, suppose see, in the place of this, I'm giving America. Now see, what is the first not null value in the list? Country 2. Country 2 is the first not null value. So the output is going to be America. And here, I'm also giving a value for this one, India. Now, what is the first not null value? Country 1, not India. Country 1 is the first not null value there. So that's what exactly it prints to you there. Is that clear? So what it returns you? The first not null value in the list. How many can I give? Any number. It keeps on checking. Wherever it finds a not null value, set stops there and returns that value to you. That's it. Okay, now? So this is about how. That only I'm explaining now. Last 10 minutes only I explained you again. Again, you're asking the same. This is what I explained in the last 10 minutes yesterday. Are you guys clear? I think Satish, you joined late in the class. Okay. Guys, are you clear? So these are the operators what we have. What are the miscellaneous operators? First one, size of. Second one, type of. Is, as, and conditional operator and a Colli's operator. Colli's operator. These are the 6 operators what we just have. These are the conditional operators. Okay, next. What next? The next thing what we are going to discuss, guys, is it's about conditional statements in C#. Conditional statements in C#. Guys, you remember conditional statements in C language? What's a conditional statement? What is my question? What is a conditional statement? Why are you telling examples for conditional statement? What is the question here? What is a conditional statement is my question. You're telling if and while are conditional. I did not ask you any examples, na? Execution. A block of code that executes based on a condition is what we call as a conditional statement. So tomorrow when you go to an interview, first thing I'm saying, be a good listener first. Understand what he's trying to expect from you. What he's expecting from you. So he asks you something and don't try to tell whatever you know about that. Be clear in your answer. What is asked, that only should be answered. Is that clear? So the question is, what is a conditional statement? A block of code that executes based on a condition is what we call as conditional statements. Okay? So that's what. So now, recollect yourself. Conditional statements are 2 types. What are the 2 types? Conditional branching, conditional looping. What is conditional branching? Conditional branching means here. Conditional branching means here what will happen? We have multiple blocks of code, guys. Here we'll have multiple blocks of code, but only one block of code will execute in the list. How many? One only will execute. Example, if condition. You write if, else if, else if, else if, else. Will all execute? How many will execute? One only will execute. Okay? Switch case. In switch case also, you write a switch case statement. Case 0, case 1, case 2, case 3, like this. Some 10 cases. Will all execute? Only one execute. So conditional branching means you'll find multiple blocks of code, but only one block of code gets executed based on the given condition. Okay, now. So that's what we call as conditional branching statement. Examples, if and switch case. Then what is the second category? Conditional loops. What are conditional loops? Conditional loops means here we'll have one block of code that executes multiple times. Understand here, this is a reverse. There are multiple blocks, but one executes. Here, one block executes multiple times. It's a single block of code that executes for multiple times based on the given condition. That's what we call loops. Tell me what are the loops you are aware of? For loop, while loop, do while loop. You know these three loops now? For loop, while loop, do while loop. But we have a fourth loop here called for each loop. This is new for you. Okay. But the first three loops, what you said is right. They are available for us. But we have fourth loop in C#. That is the fourth loop, for each loop. We'll see how to use the for each loop. But these are the four loops what are available. So two conditional branching statements and two conditional looping statements. And guys, I'm telling you, I'm not going to teach you how an if condition will run or how a loop will run. That's not my cup of tea. That's why I said you. Basics you must know. Okay. So what I'm going to tell you is, let us once memorize all the things like if condition, switch case, loops and all. Let's just try to memorize all the things what we learn. Okay, now we'll start with if condition. How do you write if condition? The syntax of writing the if condition did not change, guys. The syntax of writing the if condition did not change. How do you write an if condition in your C language? Exactly, it is the same way. How do you write an if condition in C# also? The syntax did not change at all. Have a look. If condition, statement or statements. The S in the brackets indicates what? Either or, statement or statements. And remember, if you write a statement, curly braces are optional. If you have statements, then curly braces are mandatory. Same rules, guys, no difference. One line code, curly braces are optional. More than one line, curly braces are mandatory. Are you clear? That's why just put the curly braces in the square braces to indicate that only. Okay, else if condition. Like this, you can write multiple else ifs. Finally, we write else. So there is nothing difference in the syntax of your if condition, guys. It is as same as how we have learned in our C language. The if condition syntax is as same as how did we learn in the C language. Let's try writing a small program now. What program? Yesterday you learned taking inputs from user now. Now also do the same thing. Take two numbers from the user and tell which number is the highest value. First number, second number. Is it clear? Help me. Help me, guys. Using system. If demo. Same like yesterday, I want to take the two numbers from the user. First, console dot write, not write line. Write line means again it will wait on the next line. That's what I said to you. Console dot write. Enter first number. Now read it as a double. Read it as a double. Come on. Double D1 is equals to. I said to you guys, choice is yours. You will use convert dot to double dot parser. Choice is yours. I said you both options to you. And inside of it directly what I said, write off console dot read line. First inner method executes and the inner method will pass on the value to outer method. Outer method will convert it and assign to D1. So all happens on one line. Same again. Another number. Console dot write. double D2 is equals to double dot pass. Done. Now tell me which one is highest value using an if condition. Come on. If D1 greater than D2, console dot write line. First number is greater than second. Next. Else. Single statement curly brace is not required. That's what I said there. How many lines of code you're writing there? One line. So because you're writing only one line there, curly braces are not required. More than one line you write, curly braces are mandatory. Okay, otherwise no need. Next what else? Console that right line. I did not get you. Else what? Console dot right line. Miss, which one is greater? Tell that. Second number is greater than. Are you sure? You need to learn mathematics again here. If first number is greater, second number, if first number is not greater, second number is greater. They can be equal also, na? And then why you're directly telling else now? Else if D1 less than D2. Else both the given numbers are equal. So fine. You did not notice any difference in writing an if condition. Check it out. This is the same style what we followed in C language also. Again, the same thing I'm telling you. Single line, curly braces are optional. Multiple lines, curly braces are mandatory. One line code only present under each block. So I did not use a curly brace. If you feel confusion, add curly braces there. No issues. Okay, now? Save it. Second number is greater than first. You can give anything you like. Yesterday I said you, whatever you want, you give it. No props. Any number. Not integer. Any number. No props. Okay. You try to use the same value. Both the given numbers are equal. Okay. So this is if condition. So there are no changes to if condition, guys. So there is nothing for me to explain for a if condition. Just only I said you, let us memorize all the things. That's all. Okay, fine. So this is the program what I shown you here. What next? Switch case. The next thing is a switch case. So all of you have a look on the switch case statement here. This is a switch case statement. How do you write switch? Expression, case, value, some statements, break, multiple case blocks, default, statements, break. Is it the same way you're writing a switch case in your C language or not? Come on, faster. Is it the same way you're writing a switch case in C language or not? No. There is one difference. Notice carefully. One difference, that's all. Break only. You write break for every block here. Default as a break statement now. Default as a break statement. Go and check your notes as in C language. You don't find a break statement for default. Default doesn't have a break statement, but in C# default also will have break statement. That is the difference in syntax. That's what you are. The reason for starting this discussion is that only. There are some changes and some enhancements. To let you know those changes and enhancements, I started the discussion. Is it clear? Switch case syntax did not change here, same only. But when you write, you'll get an error. Why? Because in C language, writing break after default is not required. Not like optional, not required at all. But in C sharp, it is mandatory. A default also should end with a break statement. That is the restriction. Okay. So how does a switch case execute? First, the expression evaluates here. First, the expression evaluates and compared with the value present under the case. Compared with the value present under the case. Wherever it matches, that block of code will execute. Wherever it matches, that block of code will execute. Suppose it matches with third block, executes it and comes out. Only, multiple blocks won't execute. How many? Only one block gets executed. Multiple blocks won't be executed. Is that clearer? It is as simple as here. It is just like an attendance in a classroom. That's all. It is just like an attendance in the classroom. Recollect the attendance pattern in our school days here. The teacher calls number 1 and immediately the student with the number responds. Correct? So now 2, that student. Array, wherever it matches, that student is responding now. So this is also as the same as that only. Switch case execution is also as same as an attendance process in your classroom. Whatever matches, that block code will be executed. Watch it. Switch demo.cs using system class switch demo. Okay. So what I want to do, I want to write the same code here. I want to ask the student, I want to ask the user to enter a student number. Whatever number is entered, that appropriate student should respond. Got the point? So console.write, enter student number or enter student number. Ash indicates number basically. Okay. So enter student number. What number you want me to enter? Any number within 1 to 5. Any number within 1 to 5. Read it. Double I int. How shall I read? Double I int. Int. Why double? 1 to 5 no clear. No decimal. So read is a int. Int. Yes number is equals to int dot parse console dot read line. Now switch. I'm passing the yes number there. Okay. And now see case 1. Case 1. Console dot write line student 1 and afterwards break. What is the need of break statement? Actually, conditional branching means one block of code only should execute. Once the execution of the block is done, the break statement will send the control out of that switch now. So now you write multiple cases now. Case 2. Okay. See now, suppose the 3 is entered. It'll come. 3 is entered. It'll come now. And simply this break will take you out. The break will take you out. Okay. So there's a chance now. What is it? You can call a number. You can enter a number out of this 1 to 5. I said 1 to 5 only, but you're entering something else. Are you clear? That is the place where we go for using default. Default. console dot write line. What? No student exists with the given ID or with the given number. No student exists with the given number. And here also, we just require to add break statement. That is what they made mandatory now. So what is the concept? Every block should end with break. They bought the option of every block should end with break. So why that discrimination again for default? So let default also end with a break. Everyone should end with a break statement now. That is the rule what they have just introduced. In which case only equal comparison can be done. No, in expression you can write anything. In expression you write anything. But here the comparison will be equality only. Here the comparison will be equality comparison. You write whatever you want in the expression. The result will be compared with this. So here comparison will be equality only, Satish. Okay. So fine. Student 3. No student exists with the given number. No student is existing with the given number. Are you clear? So like this, we just go for executing this one. So here it will go to the default. So there is no difference in execution here. The only difference is only in the way you write the code. What is the new thing? Break is added after default. Otherwise, the way it runs is exactly the same way how it runs in the C language. Okay. So these are the two conditional branching statements. What next? Conditional loops. The next thing what we just have is conditional loops. Now, what are the loops you have? 4 loops. What are the 4? For loop, while loop, do while loop, for each loop. Whatever is the loop, what did we discuss here? Single block of code, executing multiple times. Single block of code, but executing for multiple times. That's what we call as conditional loop. Okay, now? Do you remember this? Every loop requires 3 things to run. Every loop requires 3 things to run. What are the 3? First one is conditional. Follow the sequence here. Initialization. First, you require a initialization. Second, condition. Third, not increment or decrement. Iteration. Initialization, condition, iteration. What is initialization? Initialization tells you where the loop should start from. Initialization tells you where the loop should start from. It sets the starting point of the loop. Condition. Condition decides the ending point of the loop, where the loop should end. Where the loop should end. Third, iteration. Iteration takes you to the next level of the cycle. Actually, loop is a cycling process. It will take you to what? The next step in the cycle. It will take you to the next step. It can be either forward or backward. It is a positive iteration, forward. It is a negative iteration, backward. So depending on that, it moves. So initialization is to set the starting point. Condition is to decide the ending point. Iteration, the next level of the cycle. Either you should go forward or backward. That is what the iteration decides to you. Okay. So all loops requires these 3 things in common. All loops require these 3 things in common. So guys, okay, this is this is the program code what I shown you for the switch case. This is a switch case. Now conditional loops, the 4 loops are for loop, while loop, do while loop, and for each loop. So totally 4 loops what we have? The for, the while, do while, and for each. So what is the new one? For each is the new one. Okay. And next, all loop requires three things to run, three things in common. What is that? Initialization, and that is going to set the starting point of the loop. Second one is condition, that is going to set the ending point of the loop. Third one is iteration, that is going to take you to the next level of the cycle. That's going to take you to the next level of the cycle. Okay. And guys, you can observe this. This is the syntax of a for loop. Have a look. No differences, guys. No changes. No changes. For condition, iteration, and then your statements. See this now. What is the output of this program? 1 to 100. It prints you. Can you write a program? You do it, guys. Write a program for a demo. Okay, now? Write static void main. In the static void main, put the code, execute and see. I shown you all the things till now. Try. I want you to write the code. It's simple program. Name it as what? For a demo. Main method. You know this too. Inside of it, write the for loop code. Okay, now? What next? While loop. The next thing is while loop. And if you look at the while loop, the syntax of the while loop also did not change. While, hold on. Condition, statements. Okay, and you can look at an example of while also. Have a look. Int I is equals to 1, initialization. While I less than equal to 100, condition. I plus plus, iteration. Okay. Third one, try this also. Write a program called while demo and put that code. Output 1 to 100. Now also the output is 1 to 100. Next, do while loop. How do you write? Do statements while condition. Do statements while condition. Okay. So that's how you're just going to write this now. Okay. You have a look on this. You can observe this code. What is the output? 1 to 100 only. In all the three cases, the output is same here. 1 to 100. 1 to 100 only will be the output in all the three cases. Okay. There is no difference, but different styles of writing. Now I'll ask you a small question. Can you tell me this one? What is it? What is the difference in execution? What is the difference in execution between a for loop and a while loop? Is there a difference in execution between for and while? Is there any difference in execution between for and while? For loop and while loop. Do you have any difference in execution? Come on, yeah, answer fast. Is there any difference in execution between a for loop and a while loop? You know what? Don't know what? Or you don't want to answer? No, don't know. There is no difference in between for and while. Yeah, both are same. For and while are same. There is no difference at all. Both will execute in the same way only. First, they will check the condition. A condition satisfies, they will start. Are you clear? But generally, means the way usage is different. Generally, you know, starting point, ending point means you want to run for a fixed number of times. You want to run for 10 times, you want to run for 20 times. In such scenarios, we go for using for loops. While loops are not like this here. While loops, generally, we use them based on some conditions. Based on some conditions. Tomorrow, I am loading some data from a database table. I'm loading data from a database table. Every record from the database should be loaded and printed on the monitor. Every record should be loaded and printed. How many records a table will have? Do you know? Do you know the number of rows present in the table? Today 100 rows are there. Tomorrow 150 rows can be there. Day after tomorrow, 1,000 rows can be there. Who knows? We don't know, correct? So in such scenarios, can you write fixed size loops? Can you write fixed size loops there? Are? In such type of scenarios, what we use, while loops. This loop will check number of records. Based on that, it will automatically run for you. 100 records are there, 100 times. 1,000 records are there, 1,000. Million records are there, million times it runs. So that is the beauty of while loop. In such scenarios, usage is different, but behavior-wise, both are same. Checks the condition. If the condition satisfies, starts the execution and proceeds the execution of the loop. Now the next one. What is the next one? Do while. Okay, answer this question. Do you have any difference between for while one side here? Okay, now the question is, you have any difference with the do while loop? Do you have any difference with the do while loop? What is the difference? What is it? Executes? For and while? For and while. They want to execute once, huh? Yeah. If you are asked with the differences between this, understand this carefully here. For loop, while loop, do while loop. The difference is the minimum number of executions. The minimum number of executions in case of for loop and while loop is 0. Did you understand? The minimum number of executions in for loop and while loop is 0. Why? Because both of them will start the execution only when the condition gets satisfied. If the condition not satisfied, they won't start the execution at all now. Is the point clear? So what is the minimum number of executions? 0. But when you come to do while loop, the minimum number of executions is 1. What is that? Even if the condition fails also, the loop will run for one time. Even if the condition fail also, the loop will run for one time. That's why the minimum number of executions for a do while loop is going to be 1. So tomorrow someone asks you a question. So what is the difference between for while and do while? This is the answer what you just required to give. What is that? The minimum number of executions when we go with a for loop and while loop is 0. Whereas the minimum number of executions when we go with a do while loop is 1. Okay, read this. Read. Zero, because in both these cases, the loop starts its execution only when the given condition satisfied. Whereas the minimum number of executions in case of a do while loop is 1. Because in this case, after executing the loop for first time, then it will check for the condition to continue the loop's execution. So checking is done. Condition check is on the top or bottom? Bottom means after executing for one time, it checks with the condition. Are you clear? The best example for this, where do we use this do while loops? Guys, today we don't have this provision, but I remember, guys, long back when ATM machines are introduced in India, have you noticed or not? I don't know. Earlier, when we insert our card, we used to have an option to perform multiple transactions. Means you insert your card now, you do a transaction. In the end of the transaction, it used to ask, do you wish to continue for another transaction? If I say yes, again the menu opens and you can do one more transaction. But do you notice that today you can do? You can do the second transaction. You can do the second transaction, but you are required to start the process on the first again. Again insert the card, again enter the PIN number, and again continue. But the olden days, it is not like this. We insert the card. After completing the first transaction, it used to ask us, what is it? Do you wish to continue? Yes or no? If I say yes, the menu opens again. Again, I can do a balance inquiry or something. And again, it will ask you in the last. If I say no, then transaction ends. Understood me? So suppose if you, right now they blocked it, but suppose if your ATMs are giving you multi-transaction options, means it's a looping process now. It's a looping process which runs until I say no. which runs until I say no. If I say no, it will stop. If I say yes, the loop continues. Until I say no, the loop will be running behind the screen. Are you clear? Now tell me, you went into the ATM, put your ATM card now, enter the PIN number. Okay? First time means you entered now only the PIN number. First time, will it ask you, do you wish to continue? Tell me, yeah. First time, will it ask you, do you wish to continue? See, one thing understand, yeah, one transaction is guaranteed. I did not come into the ATM machine to enjoy the AC in the ATM. I came to do some transaction. One transaction is guaranteed, correct? So first time, there is no point of asking you now. So insert the card, enter the PIN number, menu opens. When is it required to ask? After completing the first transaction, it has to ask. So there's a perfect example of a do while loop. There's a perfect example of a do while loop. The loop runs. First time menu opens. No condition check, nothing. You completed the transaction. Then it's asking, you want to continue? Yes. Loop runs again. Are you clear? Again, you said yes. 10 times you click on the yes. Loop keeps on executing now. Now 10th, 11th time you said no. Immediately the loop will end now and your card will be released out. Is it clear? So in that type of scenarios, we go for using do while loops. One thing is guaranteed. One transaction is guaranteed. Rest of the transactions are not guaranteed. They can be optional. So that type of scenarios, just to go for using the do while loop than the for loop or the while loop. Okay. So I hope you're clear with all the three loops now. What is the fourth loop? For each loop. We have one more loop called as for each loop. What is this for each loop now? Actually, guys, this is specially designed. This is specially designed in .NET. This loop is specially designed in .NET actually for accessing values from arrays and collections. For accessing values from arrays and collections. When you want to access the values from arrays and collections, we use this for each loop, guys. So guys, I'll do one thing. I'm not going to teach you about the for each loop now. And actually, we have some other things to talk. After completing that, tomorrow I'll start with the arrays here. Tomorrow I'll start with arrays. When I start with arrays, I'll tell you how to work with the for each loop. Okay, because they're specially designed for what? For accessing values from arrays and collections. So tomorrow I'll start arrays. When I start arrays tomorrow, I'll teach you how to work with the for each loop. Ignore it for the time being. Okay, but what is the use of for each loop? Read it. This loop is, for each loop is specially designed for accessing values from an array or collection. You want to access a value from an array or you want to access a value from a collection, in that scenarios for each loops will be used. Okay, we'll talk in the next class. We'll conclude all these things now. So are you clear with all the 6 conditional statements except for each? I explained you all the things to you. Okay. And do you remember this? We learned about this also in our C language here. Jump statements. Remember, we learned about jump statements in the C language. What's a jump statement? A statement that transfers the control from one line to another line is what we call as a jump statement. So jump statements means these are statements which are going to transfer the control from one line to another line. A statement that is going to transfer the control from one line to another line is what we call as a jump statement. Okay. Now talking about the jump statements, C# provides you 4 jump statements actually. What are the 4? Go to, break, continue, return. All these 4 statements are known as jump statements. So what will they do? They will transfer the control from one line to another line of execution. Okay, let's try to understand about these jump statements here. What is the first one? Go to. What is go to? Go to, guys, go to, simply speaking, it will jump from one statement to another statement. The second statement should be indicated with a label. The second statement should be indicated with a label. For example, have a look. These are the 4 lines of code I am writing in a main method. These are the 4 lines of code I'm writing in a main method. What is the output of the program? In the main, I'm writing the 4 lines here. What is the output of the program? I'm very clearly showing you with an arrow mark there. The output is go to called. It won't print you hello world. No, it won't print. Why? Because I used go to. Go to xxx. What is xxx? We call that as a label. We call that as a label. So the syntax is go to label. Okay. And here we given the label. When I say go to label, control will directly jump to here and executes this particular code now. Read it all of you. It allows us to jump directly to another specified line in the program indicated by a label. Indicated by a label, which is an anything followed by a colon is what we call as a label. It is just an identifier and that is followed by a colon. That's what we call as a label actually. Okay, that's what we just call as a label. So when I use that, the control automatically jumps from that line to the next line. Sorry, the label line. Are you clear? So now you understood now? I just shown you with an arrow mark representation to make you understand. The control jumps from here to here. This is the first jump statement. This is the first jump statement. See, you may be learning about the jump statements in C, but today what I'm trying to tell you now, which jump statement should be used in which scenario. The discussion what I'm going to make you right now is about which jump statement should be executed or used in which scenario. So we have various jump statements, but the point arises which one should be used when. Okay, so that's what I'm just trying to clarify here, which statement and when it has to be used. Okay, so let's talk on this one now. So the 4 jump statements what we have. Okay, the 4 jump statements what we just have here. So the first one is go to. Go to clear? Yes or not? Go to is clear. Next one. What is the next thing? The next one is break. The next jump statement is break. So what is this break and where do we use the break statement? Already you used the break statement today. Where? We use the break statement in 2 scenarios here. What are the 2 scenarios? 1, switch case. We use the break in switch case. The one place where we just use is it in a switch case. Second, the second thing where we just use it is in the default. Where you use it is in the, one is in the switch case. Second thing is inside of a loop. Which loop? Any loop. The second place where you can use it is inside of a loop. Which loop? Any loop. Any loop we can just use it. Any loop we can just use that statement actually. So what I mean to tell is, look at this. Can you tell me what is the output of this program? Console dot right line I. Console dot right line end of the program. Yes, end of the loop. Guys, can you tell me what is the output of the program? 1 to 100. Afterwards, end of the loop. It will print you 1 to 100. Afterwards, end of the loop. Clear? But watch it, yeah? Here, I'm adding a condition now. What is the condition? If I is equals to 50, break. If I is equals to break, do you know what is the output now? 1 to 50, end of the loop. 1 to 50, end of the loop. Means the loops gets terminated in the middle. If at all you want to terminate a loop in the middle of its execution, then you go for using break. Are you clear? Okay, so 2 scenarios we use a break. First one, switch case. The first one is in the switch case. To come out of a case block. To come out of a case block. Case or default, whatever it is. To come out of a block, I'll tell you come out of a block. The block can be case block or the block can be default block. But once you want to come out of a block, we use it. The second scenario where we are going to use this is, it is under any loop here, no matter for loop or while loop or do while loop or for each loop. Any loop you want to terminate the execution, we go for using the break statement. Okay. So the output is now 1 to 50, end of the loop. So now you'll be having a doubt here. See, earlier when I was explaining this in my earlier batches, one student asked the question, sir, what is the output here? 1 to 50, end of the loop. If that is the case, why to write like this? You can directly write I less than equal to 50 only now. Yes or not? You can write I less than equal to 50 only. Why are you writing I less than equal to 100? If I is equals to 50, break. Why? My intention is not printing from 1 to 50 here. My intention is to tell you how to use a break statement in the code. Did you catch my point or not? My intention is not to print from 1 to 50. If my intention is to print from 1 to 50, I would have written the code like this only. But my intention is to tell you how to use break statement in the code. Tomorrow, you will be processing data. Suppose you wanted to pick some data from a database. And send this data to a printer for printing the output. What is it? There are students in the school now. Okay. They completed their examination. Now I need to print and give them the report cards. Marks memo. You go to university. The university will give you the marks memo for I want to do this. I'm writing a program now. And what will the program do? The program will fetch the data from the database now. Okay. Does all the alignments. Sends to printer. Printer will print. Understood? Some 1,000, 2,000 students are there. See, now yesterday intermediate board exams have been conducted. Nearly 1 lakh, 2 lakh people write these exams. And for all the people, the university has to give the marks memos now. Yes or not? Will they print, will they type everything? The process is an application executes now. All the data will be in the database. What the application does, the application will connect to database. Loads one by one record now. Loads one by one students data now. One by one students data. Picks the data. Puts it in a aligned format. Sends the input to printer. What will printer do? Printer will print it now. Clear? So how many times this loop should run now? How many students are there? That many number of times. So when the loop is running now, okay? So suppose, assume like there are 1,000 students, for example. I written the loop to run for 1,000 times now. 1,000 times the loop running now. But suddenly what happened, the printer in the ink in the printer is completed here. The ink is completed from the printer now. When the ink is completed, if you send it to the printer, what happens now? If the printer tries to print it without a paper, the printer head gets damaged. Are you clear? Yes or not? This process should go on. No one will monitor there. I won't sit there and keep on watching. The process should go on. Finally, I'll come back and take my sheets there from there. That's all. Either ink can be completed, either paper can be exhausted. Anything can happen. Yes or not? When we are writing the code in our applications, we'll keep on checking that. So we can connect with the printer and we can read the details of the printer. Ink presenter, paper presenter, we can get all the information from the printer. If I get a signal from the printer, what signal? Ink exhausted or paper exhausted, I'll say break. So what happens now? Anything goes wrong, immediately the printing operation will stop there. Again, if it goes to there, the printer head gets damaged. For that reason, when we are writing the code, we'll keep on checking all the things now. If anything wrong signal comes there, what is the meaning? Stop it first, break. Are you clearer or not? So that is what exactly the things. So to demonstrate the things for you, I just use the simple condition. What is the condition? If I is equals to 50, break. So understood? My point is not to print from 1 to 50. My intention is to make you understand how to use a break statement in the code. That's all. I hope you are clear with this. One example which switch case I already shown you. And this is the second example. And you can see. Watch it, guys. Are you clear? Break. From there, control comes to end of the loop. So what is the output? 1 to 50, and the loop will stop there. It breaks there. Okay. Next. What next? The next thing is default, right? Sorry. The next thing is continue. What is the next one? Continue. So what is this continue? Yeah, I'll tell you. Just look at this code. I'll remove this. What is the output again? 1 to 100. End of the loop. Correct? Actually, guys, I feel like 7 is an unlucky number and should not be printed in the output. Did you understand? 7 is an unlucky number and that should not be printed in the output. This is what my feeling is. So if that is the case, to print from 1 to 100 without a 7, I require to write 2 loops now. 1 loop to print from 1 to 6. 1 loop to print from 8 to 100. If I don't want to 77 also, then I require to write 3 loops. 1 to 6. Again, 8 to 76. Again, 78 to 100. Is it not becoming hectic? Yes or not? It becomes hectic to write the code. So just watch. If I is equals to 7 or I is equals to 77, continue. The output of the program is 1 to 100 without 7 and 77. Did you get my point? The output is 1 to 100 without 7 and 77. What happens? What happens is break will directly bring you out of the loop here, but continue will not bring the out of the loop. Understand the meaning of continue. Continue. The meaning of continue is continue the loop, don't break it. So what happens? See, I value is 1. Condition false. Correct? Prints you I value. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Condition false only na? Prints you I value. Now I is 7. Condition true or false? Array, I is 7. Condition true na? I is 7. Condition true. Correct? Now what will happen, Continue. So the continue statement will transfer the control to the iteration part of the loop. Where will it jump? Iteration part means from here, control will go here. When I is 7, it will take there and makes I as 8. Means what happened now? When the control jumps from here to here, this line did not execute now. So 7 is not printed. Did you understand? Now I became 8. Okay? And the loop continues. Continue the loop. Don't stop it. Again, when will the condition meet? 77. Again, what will skip now? 77 will skip. So what is the output now? 1 to 100 without 7 and 77. Understood all of you? Yes or not? When it is 7, it won't print you the right line. Comes here and becomes 8. When it is 77, it won't print you. Comes here and becomes 78. So what is skipped? 7 skipped. 77 also skipped. In the same example, what I said about printing the mark sheets. In the same example, while I'm telling you printing the mark sheets, I'm adding one more condition there. What is the condition? If the student is absent, don't print the mark sheet of the student. If the student is absent, don't print the mark sheet of the student. So now you understand. I'll check a condition. Student absent. Continue. Go to next student. Don't break. Did you catch my point? Student absent means you should not stop the printing. Should stop printing the mark sheet of that student. So continue. What will continue do? Continue will take to next student now and processes the next student. 4 or 5 students are absent. The mark sheets of the 4 or 5 students will not be printed. Why? I have a condition there. What's it? If student absent, continue the process. Don't print the output. Is it clear? Understood the difference between for and break and default? What will break do? Terminates the loop. Continue. Continues the loop. Break will completely break, but continue will skip only particular iterations, not all iterations, only particular iterations where the condition matches that will be broken. Okay, that's it. So you cannot Point you understand. Where can I use a go to? Anywhere you can use. You can use go to anywhere. Where can you use break? You cannot use break everywhere you want here. If you want to use a break, there should either be a switch case there or a loop there. Either switch case should be there or otherwise loop should be there. Where can I use continue? Only in a loop. Only in a loop. So before going to use those statements, make sure are the rules satisfied or not. Okay, I'll give you a live example. I'll give you a live example for that. Meanwhile, watch this picture. Are you clear? Continue. Where is it taking? Iteration. It is taking you directly to the iteration part. So control straight away comes to the iteration part in this context now. Okay. Yeah. The last one is return. Do you remember we learned about return statement in C language? What is the need of return? Tell me. Louder. Return a value. Yeah, this is what our teachers have taught you. Return is a statement used for returning a value from a function. From a function. Correct or not? Yes or not? But frankly, guys, we are said wrong. We are said wrong. Even my teacher also said me the same thing only. Return is to return a value. But the original usage of return is not to return a value. Then return is a statement that is used for jumping out of a function or a method in execution. It's a jump statement actually. Return is a jump statement which is used for jumping out of a method or function in which is in execution. That is the real purpose of return, guys. That is the real purpose of return. Are you clearer or not? So the real purpose of return is to basically it is just going to be jumping out of the out of a method or function which is in execution. It jumps out of a function or out of a method which is in execution. Okay. But actually, what are we taught? We are taught like return is to return a value. Yes or not? That is secondary. That is secondary. What is that? And while jumping out, it is capable of carrying a value out of that function or method, which is only optional. Are you clear? Satish, stop your questions here. When I complete my discussion, I'll tell you, if you have any doubts, let me know. Without completing only, you're asking questions about it. Let me talk. You're disturbing. Don't put messages continuously. Once I complete my discussion, I'll ask you, do you have any doubts? I'll respond then. Okay. So you can see there. What I'm telling you, the original usage of return is to jump out of a function or a method. And secondary, what is the secondary? Carrying a value outside. The secondary thing is carrying a value outside. But unfortunately, our teachers in the C language have taught us return is for returning a value. But returning a value is not mandatory. Returning a value is only optional. Okay. Let me show you an example to you. Watch. I'm writing a small program, guys. Table.cs. Table.cs. What's your thing? Nothing. When I run this, it has to ask me, enter a number, enter an integer value. When I enter the value, it has to print the multiplication table of the number. That's all. Suppose you entered 17 here. It should print the multiplication table of 17. 17 ones are 17, 17 twos are 34. Like this. 17 tens are 170. From 1 to 70. Any number you give, it will print the multiplication table of that number from 1 to 10. Is it clear? That's what my intention is. Using system, class, table. Static void main. What do you want to do? Console.write, enter an integer value. Enter an integer value. Okay. Int I equal to or int x equal to int dot parse console dot read line. So this is x is the number what end user has entered, correct? It has to print the multiplication table of that number now. What should be printed? Multiplication table of that number. So to do that, I'm writing a for loop now. For int I equal to 1, I less than equal to 10. Guys, you know the size now correctly. See, when to use a for loop, that's what I said you. You know the size. You want to print from 1 to 10. You know the size or not? Then we use for loop. When your size is not known, then what we use? While loop. Okay, we'll see examples on that in the database programming. When we work with the database programming, I cannot use for loops there. What will use? While loops. The while loop will check now how many records are there. Based on that, it runs to you. Okay, fine. And now let me print you the multiplication table of it. So how I want to print, you know, suppose if the number entered is 23, it should print you 23 ones are 23, 23 twos are 46. That's how it has to print. Finally, 23 tens are 230. Clear? Okay. To get the output, I'm writing it like this. Tell me, can I just try like this? Console.write line dollar. Okay. And here I'm just going to write what? First, x value. X is the user entered value. Next, asterisk. Next, I value. I means 1 to 10 is equals to x into I. Are you clear? Yes or not? The value of x will come in the first place now. The value of I will come in the second place. Means from where to where? 1 to 10. And when you come to the third place, what will come? X into I value. CSC table.cs. I'm entering 18. Got it? Clear? Okay, that's what I'm just going to enter there. See, tomorrow there is a chance. What chance? The chance of entering a non-numeric value there, non-integer value, non-integer value. Suppose in this process, when you ask to enter a number, I'm entering a non-integer value, 4.5. It's not integer, it's a decimal. When I hit enter, I get error. Are you clear? I get an error. Why? Because you used the parse method there. Because we used a parse method there, and the parse method will throw you an error if the conversion cannot be completed. If the conversion cannot be completed, parse method will throw an error. Then how to control this? To control this, guys, we have another method called as try parse. What is that? Try parse. What is the difference? Have a look. Concentrate on this, everyone. String str is equals to 100. String str is equals to 100. Now, int I is equals to int dot parse, okay, str. What happens? String is converted to integer now. The string is converted to integer. We can write this in another way also. Watch it. Int dot try parse. What? str, comma, just watch it. You declared, why did you declare this one? To hold the value. Array, the value will come now. To capture that value, we declared int I, correct? That the declaration will be done here, like this, out int I. What is that out? I'll tell you, we'll talk on that. But the declaration will be done at this particular point, out int I. The declaration what you done here will come to here. Now, the converted value will come to high. Here also, the converted value will come to high. And here also, the converted value comes to I. What is the difference, sir? The difference is, suppose tomorrow, if I give like this, Conversion success or failure? Tell me. Conversion fails and throws an error. Are you clear? And the beauty here is conversion fails, but will not throw any error. What is the problem if it throws an error? If a program throws an error in the runtime, your program will abnormally terminate. Remember that point. Your program will abnormally terminate. Tomorrow, I have some 1,000 lines of code. I got an error at line number 10. If I get an error at line number 10, the remaining 990 lines of code will not execute. Even though they don't have any relation with the error, the code won't execute now. Is the point clearer or not? See, there is a class going on, and in that, one student is behaving mischievous. The teacher got angry and left the class. The teacher got angry and left the class. So because of that one student, you remember, all the students have to suffer for that now. Yes or not? Okay. So that is not a right thing now. Send the student out of the class, not the teacher. If the teacher goes, all students will affect here. Now you got error at line number 10, and you abnormally terminate the program now. Remaining 990 lines of code has to suffer now. Are you clearer? So this will conversion fails here also, but will not throw any error, because error is not thrown. Abnormal termination will not occur in your code. Are you guys clear? But how do I know, sir? Conversion is success, conversion is failure. How do I know? How do you know is this method is going to return you a Boolean value, bool status. Check this status now. If the status is true, your conversion is success. If the status is false, your conversion failed. Are you clear? See, basically here this method directly returns integer. This method is not returning integer. The method is returning you Boolean. That is why the result is captured in a different way here. Are you clear? If this is true, go and check. I will contain value in it. If this is false, I will not contain value in it. Understood my point or not? Okay, come on. Let's change the code in our application now. What did you write? Int x is equals to. Okay, this declaration, where did I ask you to put it? First, change this to try parse. The declaration should come here. Prefixed by out. Prefixed by out. And now the return type is not integer. The return type is a Boolean. Bool status equals to. Bool status is equals to. Okay. Now tell me, if status is equals to false, conversion success or failure? Louder. Conversion failure. If conversion is failure, do you want to execute the for loop? Tell me, do you want to execute the for loop? No, I want to jump out now. I want to jump out. Now tell me, can I use go to here? Yes, you can use go to here. But if you use go to, don't forget. Again, here you require to add a label. So go to label. So directly control will jump there and the for loop will skip the execution. Go to can be used. Clear? Can I use break here? Break. No. Why? To use break, what did I say? You need to have either a switch case there or a loop there. Check it out. Do you have a switch case or a loop there? Loop is present. No, sir. Loop is present below that. Array, loop is present below that. Where you want to use loop is not there now. There's a switch case there? No. So I cannot use a break. Can I use a continue? No. Continue also cannot be used. Why? There is no loop there. Continue also cannot be used. One thing we know that go to can be used. But go to will ask you for writing a label again. The best thing here is return. Return. When you're using return, it is not mandatory to return a value. You can use return without returning any value also. That's why I said you. The main purpose of return is to jump out. So when I say return, control will straight away come to here. Where? End of the method. Now the control comes here. This for loop is skipping execution or not? Tell me. The for loop will be skipping the execution to you in this place now. Okay, now come back and check it out. Run again. I'm entering 4.5. You want to display some message to user? Display. What? Enter. Please enter what? Integer values only. Please enter integer values only, so that the message is going to be printed for you and the control is going to jump out of the method. Is it clear? Out keyword I did not explain at all. Out I said you, I'll talk later. I did not explain, right? That when we are learning object-oriented programming, I'll teach you about out keyword. You ignore it now. Just to write and see the output, how you're getting it. So what is the need of out? I'll tell you in the later classes. Okay, now? Now you see, guys. I'm recompiling. I'm entering 4.5. Got the message? Okay. Now I'm entering -5. It's an integer or not? Integer or not? No. Integer only. That is also integer. That is also integer. But did you learn multiplication tables for negative numbers? Did you learn multiplication tables for negative numbers? No. But it will print you. I don't want. I don't want to see the multiplication tables for the negative values. What I want to see is only positive. Means what I want is only unsigned or signed. What I want is only unsigned, but I don't want signed. If that is the case, better when you're asking, please enter an unsigned integer value. But if I show this message, will the user, there is a guarantee, user will enter unsigned value. I'll show this message here, but even though I show the message, is there any guarantee user is going to enter an unsigned value? No, I will say so a lot of things. Why will the user follow? Are you clear? So to control this, I'm using event.tryparse. And here also, event. All the places, just to change to event. So will not accept your signed values. It's not going to accept a signed value for you. And here also, please enter unsigned integer values only. Okay, watch. I'm entering 5. Perfect. I'm entering -5. Clearer? Okay, so only it will print you from where to where? Only unsigned or signed? Only unsigned. Okay, it is not going to take signed. Now entering 0. Will it print the multiplication table of 0 or not? Yes or not? But did you learn multiplication tables for 0? You learned 0 into any number is 0 only. So no need a multiplication table for 0. Again, 1. Any number into 1 is the same number only. No need a multiplication table for 1 also. You did not learn in your school days multiplication tables for zeros and 1. Recollect yourself. We directly started from 2, not from 1. So 1 and 2, 0 and 1 also I don't want execution. 0 and 1 also I don't want execution now. Is it clear? Okay. One more. What? If x is equals to 0 or x is equals to 1. Same story. What is it? Written. Written. So it is not going to print you for 0, 1 as well as negative values. What it takes is only positive integers. That's it. So you can see now 0. You want to display message, write it here. That's your choice. 1, 2. I got it. Are you clearer? So did you understand which jump statement to use when now? Now see, written. When you talk about the written, did I written any value? Come on, did I written any value? Satish, got your answer? This is what you asked. Can we write written in a method doesn't having any return type for the method. Yes, the method is void method. See, the method is a void method. Still I used return because return is not for returning a value. That's what I want to prove you. Return is not for returning a value. That's what we are said wrong in our C language. Return is to return a value. That is wrong. Return is to jump out of a method. That's all. In non-value returning methods also, return statement can be used just to come out of the method. But whenever return comes, control straight away jumps to end of that particular method. Any doubt with the jump statements now? Are you clear with the conditional statements and jump statements? 6 conditional statements, 1 we skipped up, and 4 jump statements. Tomorrow, I'll teach you arrays. When I teach you arrays, I'll tell you how to work with for each loop to you. Okay, let's stop here, guys. We'll meet tomorrow. Online students, any doubts? See, if you use it, nothing happens, but it directly will come out of the method. The method can contain some other statements also. All those statements will not execute. Without executing the statements, control will jump out of the method directly. Based on your usage here, you can use return there also. That decide yourself whether you want to skip the complete execution or whether you just want to skip something, the loop execution. Return the second condition will carry value out of the loop, not out of the loop, out of the method. Both will do out of the method only. This also will jump out of the method only. This also will jump out of the method only. Okay, guys. Unsigned will not accept negative values. Unsigned means it doesn't accept negative values. That's what unsigned is. You learned in your school days here, you're asking this question. Understood? Okay, guys. Have a nice day. We'll meet tomorrow.
Recording stopped.